Hey, here I am. Phone might open up the show. Okay, so this is Brenda Power Medicine Woman. And I have been getting together the Reiki manuals. So excited about that. Which means Reiki 1 initiation will be happening soon. There's so much to go with energy. As I look back, I had my first attunement back in 1996. And it's amazing when you look back. I haven't read these Reiki manuals in so long. And I remember the teachings. I remember the teacher being up there and talking to me about spirituality. And all I can think of was that if you take my class, you'll know that the main thing that I wanted to know was how to help my mother. How do you help anybody? And my mother had cancer, and all I could think about is I read the Bible over and over was hands on healing, hands on healing. Hi. And so I finally decided, okay, I said to God, this is it. You show me where to find it. I have no problem. You show me where to find it. And Spirits was like, okay. And so that was 1988, 89. And then in 1995, I was pregnant. And I heard, up next, hands on healing. And I'm like, say what? And I'm running around trying to get a VHS tape for my VHS recorder, the old days. And I looked all over to find something. And I couldn't. So I had to memorize what I heard. And all I heard was the word Reiki. So it was such a nice thing to know that there was such thing as hands on healing. Now, I asked way back when, but there was the answer. And then, I got my first attunement. And then as I look back at the manuals, I'm so shocked that it says, the first thing it says is not even about hands-on healing as much as it's about spiritual development. Whew. I worked with the teacher, so I got Reiki 1, 2, and 3 about 20 times each. So I can see why I have excelled. Good morning all to you, or good evening, no matter where you are. It's funny because half of my screen is different looking, and I'm not sure why, but if you hit love, I'll always send you a card, but I don't even think that's working. I see all the love there and the greetings. That's wonderful. Couldn't sleep last night for whatever reason. So now all of a sudden it's like I need a little bit of jolt of coffee just to, get me going. Yep, I did my, my brain balancing, and that felt better. But I can just feel that positive ions, which isn't healthy for your body. It's like, oh my gosh. Hey, it works! Well, I just gotta love. Now, what in the world? I couldn't get anything else to work. Now it's working. At least I got the camera working. I have no idea what happened. I think it was too many people. Hi, Demi. I promised you a reading because Demi Ward is with the Soul Party. And so I told her, look, when that day arrives, I may as well just give you a reading. It's the first time really to get to know me because another friend, her name's Demi too, told her about us, me and Spirit. And so I told her, okay, she can have an experience with what I do. And we can get to that in a few minutes. But the spirits had come through so strong because they basically, I think they begged me to come through on Easter. And I'm like, okay, as long as you bring the people, which they did. And there was just tons of people that wanted readings. But a bunch of people wanted paid readings. I was like, oh my God. So I was very happy and thankful I was able to do that. And one person in particular, they asked, or I gave them a 2-minute read, and then they paid for 11-minute read. And the interesting part about being in that connection was I could feel like I feel all the time, where I can feel the ancestors and many things. But the moment this person said they were American Indian, and I'm like, well, that would explain it, because of the strong energy from that particular lifetime. The ancestors were here. Now, apparently, I agreed on a soul level to help. Afterwards, I contacted that person and I asked them, what'd you think of the reading? And I said, so just be prepared. They are using me as the vessel to send frequencies. And it was about 20 to 30 minutes of just energy pouring through me, energy pouring through me. Don't know where the person lived, but the point is it time, space, it doesn't matter. It's just a thought away. So I thought that was really interesting. It was really, really exciting. Oh, Demi says, super excited. That's wonderful. Oh, I love the soul party. I'm so excited. Well, this is going to be good. Now the thing's finally moved. I can actually see whatever's going on. Alrighty. Now, I asked Spirit what we're supposed to talk about, and it said nothing. I said, that's not fair. You always tell me something to talk about. But if you want a paid reading tonight, what you do is you pay through PayPal, $11. You get 11 minutes. And I'm just going to double check to make sure all the stuff is working. Now, I usually say share because this helps me get my message out there to all those that want, that may be open to it or don't even know I exist. Just like I didn't know Reiki exists for many years. And so if you do share, great. I will do my best to, I always give everybody a card that shares. I try to go up to that little share button, and that's how I can find you. If you give a love, I give you a card. Oh, good. We have a first read. Okay, so I'm going to do the promised one first. We're going to do everything a little early tonight. Maybe a little backwards, a little odds and ends. And then it's Sarah Jefferson. I know I butchered it, but anyway. And as far as, after we get going, we'll do everything we can, and then Spirit will start to give other different reads and stuff. But because of Demi Ward, I'm going to give her an 11-minute anyway, so that she can see what it's like. Are you okay? Are you ready to go, Demi? And, people can call in. If I got that set up, I have no idea. And, or you can just do a cold read. You can ask specific questions because, yep, okay, but that Patricia that's you, right? That's sincere. I can't say it, but I think that's you, from what I remember. Yes, good. Okay, so Demi, we'll wait, and then Patricia, you're after that. And so we're just going to start early. I mean, I asked her what they want to talk about. They just said nothing. And it's not like them to be quiet. Trust me, especially if you get going on any of the spirituality stuff. I'm just so thankful that the camera worked. I have no idea how frustrating that was last time to figure out how to do. Oh, so, okay. Do you have anything specific you want to ask? If you have a health issue, you can directly say, I have this issue. Can you tell me why it's there? All right. And what I do is I then can go in and find the right cord to look at. Now, the soul likes to talk about everything about you, and then it calls forth your higher self. It gives me information. People on the other side come through. If you have, you just understand when you're asking about future events, it's always about the program that keeps repeating that stops you from having that future event. That is what they like to look at. Shut up and listen. That's all of a sudden I hear. Okay. So, scroll to make sure I didn't miss anything. And here we go, Demi. So you have a lot of unclear thoughts, or they just tell me I'm unclear? I feel like I'm looking for something, but I'm not sure what I'm looking for. There are days I feel good, and there's days I feel lost. And the days I didn't even know I needed to be found. That's all of a sudden what they're doing, and they're saying. Um, you feels like you need to clear your conscience about something because something is keeping you from having your happy-go-lucky self. Don't worry, I won't give out too much personal information. Don't worry about that. Um, everybody has this, some sort of insecurity issue. Now, what's interesting is they say that you feel like you see people look at you and they can see your insecurities. And I happen to see your picture, and the only reason that people would do that is because that's what you're focusing on. Because I saw a really beautiful girl, and it's like, oh, how pretty, how nice, and I was just so excited. And but Spirit says, just like they wouldn't do it, perfect. We're going to do this, but they said, or what do you got here? What the hell is that, caterpillar? Or is it a boa? And not, as in feather. I don't know what that is. It looks like a caterpillar to me. That's the first impression. They say that you denigrate yourself sometimes, especially when you look in the mirror. Somebody compared you to something, and it makes you do something very compulsive that you want to stop. But when you get compulsive, you have a hard time making a decision. And you hem and you haw, and you still don't understand what that is. They said it's like, and it's, and I will tell you right now that the gallbladder meridian, okay, it starts here. How does it go? Down, up, forward, back, and then it goes across, comes down, goes down the body, in at the back, out at the waist, then down down the sides of your legs, in at the knee, go down off your second toe. And the thing is that it's massive. It covers in such a heavy area, and the gallbladder meridian is about being indecisive. And I feel like there are days that you feel lopsided too, because the energy runs really high, and all of a sudden you're like overthinking in certain things, but then you also feel like it runs really low, and then it's like I wouldn't say manic depressive, but it could be, but it's just well, I see a hormonal influx, and so what would cause that? And they say it had a lot to do with when you felt panicked when you were inside the womb. When you were 4 months inside the womb, you felt what panic was. So that means your mom must have panicked. And there's a part of you that panic scared you. And that's holding into your pericardium. It's a circulation sex meridian. And what it does is that it's the blood, it's the circulatory and your reproductive system, and it says it just you're holding it, so it travels. It's like a traveling panic in a way. Your body knows it more than you do, so it's like in a constant alert or something about something. But sometimes your mind don't go there. Do you understand what I'm saying as far as any of this match? Yeah, you feel like everybody's looking at you. Okay. And the lack of power. I feel like you were overpowered a couple times. You're overpowered by your parents, but it was overpowered. There was something like putting the fear in you to make you behave, to put you in your place. That's the word I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do hear that over and over. So far, she says yes, it does. What the heck am I smelling? Burnt popcorn? Burnt food. Did you get yelled at for burning things or learning how to do something and it didn't turn out the way it was supposed to? And I feel like you got deeply judged. Yeah, that's a lot burnt, man. Um, you felt, what did she feel completely to the bone? Rejection. And that's stored in the body. Whereabouts? Besides panic, where is, hold on, wait, did I hide it? Must have. It's in your muscular system. And in the hypothalamus, which is in your head, which affects the hormones. So panic and rejection, they affect about the same thing. Um, you've learned to be very courageous. You learn to be a fighter because that's what somebody in your family expected you to do, or it's part of, uh, you had to stand up for yourself or something like that. Does that make sense? Oh, good. Sorry, it's not good, but she says, I feel my person is easily overpowered. Well, you got that beautiful, sweet demeanor, but it's like I keep hearing the word they got to toughen you up. Does that make sense? Um, what do you mean moccasins? Like shoes, slippers? Um, she was teased. Were you teased with something that you wore on your feet? Because they said that a lot of the issues that you're going through happens to be the third chakra, which is right here. And is it the front? No, it's the back. And the healing part of you is that you really want it, but you get stumbling blocks upon stumbling blocks. Um, they said that the few extra pounds has to do with not really wanting to be seen. The girl that got scared and hurt, feared, frightened. No, sorry. They fear. They put fear in you. That's the little girl that wants to say, "Oh, I don't want her out." And so she's standing before me. I see her. She's about 3 years old. She had like might be a teddy bear, some type of stuffed animal. And what about it? She felt stronger when she had something so she could take action. You became mesmerized by what? Oh, at what age? 3. So if you can imagine a little 3-year-old looking out and she sees all these people acting mean, she became mesmerized about. It's like you saw it for the first time. You're like, oh God, no. I mean, people just do not obviously see it, but you're like, oh, that sticks out a sore thumb. Oh God, no. Oh no. And that, I mean, so you have to be an empath. Yes, you are. But you shut it down. Try to at 3, because you could feel not just their hey, I'm alpha male, I'm alpha female. I mean, you're like ew. Um, they said the colors of orange and putrid brown. I don't know what that is, but anyways, they said that there's a lot of colors that you associate with when they act mean. Um, so that I find that interesting. I'm wondering if you could use a color shield. Yes. So first of all, we probably have to remove how you see the color associated with acting mean or with those people. And so you can reclaim a color. And then if you were to imagine certain colors on, in front of, behind, around, in the background maybe, like, bright, whatever color you want, that gives you strength. They said that some color like red or something gives you strength. Now, we're made of certain colors and vibrations, and some of us that we are lacking, and some of them overpower us, and some of them we just, you know, are just, it's just important for us to have. Uh, where? Self conscious. As you got older, they said that, how old? About 12. You became very self conscious of right and wrong, because that's when you started noticing your friends started liking boys. And you're like, and yet at the same time, there's a part of you that didn't understand what was happening with yourself. But you did, that little girl inside that's hiding, she did not want to come out because she knows that fear is there and she still believes that fear is there. So even if you wanted to lose weight, or even if you wanted to look prettier than what you think, so like I said, it has based on that feeling of insecurity, that you're not going to achieve that because of that little girl that's holding that fear that says, I know. And and as you get older, you're like, what the heck? You know. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And she says my dad had a low temper. And hi, Robin. There's Kate. All right, so hopefully you uh, enjoyed that. You know, so that's what I do. But I also do healings too. So I usually help with that. Okay. Um, if you're looking for a healing and any of that stuff, or if that's what you want, it can be expedited right up front, 11 for 11. Use PayPal. Now, Patricia, that's it. You're next, sweetheart. Yeah, some of it definitely does. Later on, some of the things I say may not make it to connection, but then as time goes on, all of a sudden you're like, oh. It will hit you, or something will be said, and then you just don't, if you know what I mean. It'll just come out of the blue, but it'll make sense to you. And because this is recorded, you can always come back and look at it. Okay, refresh so I can get to where. All right. So now, just Patricia, was there anything? Love and money. Hey, Ann, I haven't seen you in a long time. Love and money. Okay, so my sinuses all of a sudden are just come really drained. Oh, start the timer. Become really drained all of a sudden, and they're always saying to me that that represents inner crying. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in. She asked about love, and that you can just be that vague, but why did or why don't I want? So you want a relationship that makes you happy. So regardless, what kind of relationship is she receiving right now? Oh, so you're in the indebted relationship, which means you owe them, or at least the feeling is that you attract men to make you feel like you owe them. Because I just feel all of a sudden they said, oh, I love to give. I don't like to make any disturbances. And you're hoping that you'll meet the person with the same heart you have, because you don't want conflict. I don't feel like you believe that you have to have conflict, but something keeps following you. What keeps following her? Anguish. What age are we referring to? 1. Is that hers? No. So at 1 year old, you picked up anguish from your mother. Something about you being in her arms, and you could feel the torment and the anguish because part of your mother's energy, what do you want to call it? Separated? So what they're showing me is that you're in your mom's arms, you're having a relationship, you're bonding, it feels good, and all of a sudden, whatever it was that your mother was going through, kind of created a shock where all of a sudden, her aura sucked in, her, thoughts and everything became, and the anguish, and then part of her kind of separated that relationship. Do you understand? So there's a part of you that's feels the pain, can't figure out how to connect with, you know, that. And so you may start attracting people that have that particular pattern of not being able to connect with you for whatever reason. Does this make sense so far? Ah, she never loved you. And the thing is that if that part of her broke, she may never have been able to recover, because I've seen people when that happens that the spirit will, yes, you have your silver cord, you're still beaming in your consciousness into this body, but a percentage of you will be displaced because emotions will move in and they become displaced. Then if your era of time, she has to behave a certain way because that was the era. It's like the era I grew up in, the cultural background is that it was acceptable and expected that you beat your kids. And that kind of freaked my mother out. But after a while, my mother's like, I can't do this. And she, 5 years later, totally still in love with her husband, but just couldn't do it anymore because her heart kept breaking every time when he would, be who he was of that particular generation. And so, okay, she says, yes, every time I meet someone that can't connect to me. So it goes back to that anguish. And what I feel, let me ask now, is it because the anguish is stored in her? No. The anguish is, she is seen as a blip on the, a blip, bleep, on the screen. So you're just like, boop. And the anguish, whatever it is, people have to go through their shit and they don't really have time for you. Because you saw that at one, that is how because you're trying to resolve it, because you couldn't do it at one. So your soul is going to keep projecting the story out, okay, until you get it. How do you want her to resolve this? Understand something. Their shit was more important. So when you reached out, they would bite back. So it was like they were always attacking you. Can't you just give me 5 minutes to do my own shit? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I just feel like your hands coming out trying to, and then you're like, oh, and after a while you're like, oh, I've seen this before. And I'm just going to ask, is her soul not wanting to connect? No, she does. It's just that she's playing out that storyline. Where does she got it? So the internal dialogue is where it is stored. So, which means that our sensory system of how we, the auto response of her reaction. I can't find my mother. I don't know where she's at. And she's right in front of you. Why doesn't my mother love me? Because when that entanglement cord that's between you and your mother, and then there's actual cords that come between you and your mother. Ooh, they're showing me something. It changed. What was it? And what was it before? So at one point, from you, it was the heart, but it connected to her root chakra, which is about that survival. So she's constantly trying to figure out how to survive. She didn't know how to get out of survival mode. How did she connect with her daughter? Through survival mode, first chakra. And she connected there, and the way you received it was through the heart. Yeah, but she was attached to the anguish. And the interesting part is that her internal dialogue, she would say out loud, as if she thought she was talking to herself out loud. Does that make sense? Okay, money. To remove the anguish, I would definitely say either make an appointment with me or go use emotional freedom technique. I would do a cord switching too, because the cord needs to be reestablished. Because when you reset the entanglement cord, besides the cord that you have, the entanglement cord, then you can bring it through with a golden white light, so you can reset the intention, okay, on your behalf anyway, so that you don't have to have the backlash of pain. Healing how you know the emotion of anguish, the pictures and everything about how these people react. It's I believe that. You have to undo that. Yeah, because we have to remove the attachment that affects the body. Okay. Oh, and then your response. Your response is you have such great contempt for these assholes. I mean, these people. Okay. But you're like, you got the tolerance level. You're like, oh god. Yeah, so we got to heal that. So you got because it changes the vibration, so that's what the energy cord that goes out like law of attraction that needs to be changed because otherwise it keeps drawing that in. So it's okay. Now money. You become very indifferent. If I asked you the value of money, what would come first? Could be health, could be relationship, but money is kind of down at the bottom. When your GPS of who you are beams out to have law of attraction, one of the things that it does is it'll go on the values list. If your value for money is way down here and you're indifferent to it, you're not going to attract it in. They said that's also the pattern of how you connected that this is my mother. So if she had a hard time with money, you're going to also have a hard time with money. I don't know if the type of people that she tracked in didn't have money, but that might be what you're doing too. But I feel like you're taught that you need to go out and find a man that has money. Again, I feel like that's very old or something. There's a particular feeling of failure. When you go to think your mindset and everything's aligned and you're going to go out and get it, you're like, crap. It's like failure. Does that make sense? Because they said that how do I put it? That failure. Tell me more. Because if you can't have love with your mother, that because of that anguish and those cords, then the association is love is money is with the attachment with your mom. So if you were to change the way you had relationship with money, then you would have to change the relationship with your mother. And you already know you've tried to change that relationship with your mother. But you are still attached to that particular thing. And if you were to change it, you may end up losing that last bit of love that did remain to some degree. Does that make sense? I feel like somewhere along the way, something about rich. I don't know what rich means. If somebody had money, will you find somebody? Yeah, you're just going to have to eventually. They said if you did no healing, you did nothing like that, you're going to get to the state where all of a sudden you're just going to attract somebody in to help you learn your lessons. And you're willing to, they said, settle. And they said that you can do what almost everybody does, or you can take that next step and do what the next people do, and that is to resolve your issues so you can evolve to attract a better. And believe me, I've healed my shit, and I've got the man of my dreams. I didn't even know he existed, but he does, and I'm beyond thankful. It's like, wow, every day that we're together, it's like, wow. Oh, that's where the rich comes in? My in-laws are rich. Yeah, the hate. Okay. See, it's a parent thing again. It's but money, and it really is screwing up the the digestive system here. Just to let you know, you just can't stomach it anymore. You're just like, I'm done. I'm going to change. I'm going to leave. I'm going to, and the thing is whoever you had in the past, whether you're with them now or heal your shit. Because you do not need to repeat this. What you don't resolve, okay, will get worse than the first. So you're going to go to the next one, and it'll seem a little better, and maybe another layer will come up, but then shit will hit the fan. You're like, oh my God. But it's so important to not only just to physically grow and get that experience, but it is about the emotional quotient. It's about raising your EQ. Like you raise your IQ, you raise your EQ. And that usually is taking the chemical peptide of the emotion and dissolving it out. That's what healing tools do. Okay? So hopefully you enjoyed that, and thank you again for purchasing my time. I really appreciate that. And because Mama Gutty, at the same time, it feels good that I know that I'm wanted, and wow, get somebody hyper all of a sudden behind me. I don't know if they're mirroring somebody out there. Oh, I just want to be hyper. I want to talk. And I'm like, I'm getting awfully dry mouth here. You know what I mean? It's like, ah. And Sam, regardless, live or dead, when you send out love messages like that, guess what happens? You feel it. It's such a beautiful vibe when we do that. All right, so I'm gonna check to see if anybody has purchased anything, and it's not moving. You know, I don't know if Lenny's here or not, but hit like and or love, and you get a I'll send you a card. Now, sometimes with I can't remember which one's which. When you share, you get a card. If I can find you, because that usually at the end of the thing is they share, and I open that up. It shows me well, I don't feel like it shows me everyone, but it shows me the ones there, and I give everybody those cards. And when you hit love, I sometimes it'll go into the video, and sometimes I am fortunate enough to go to your message inbox and send it to you. And what else? I swear I saw popcorn. How'd you do that? Oh, that's a face. Never mind these glasses. And how does pictures appear? I don't know how that happens. Okay. Let's just regroup. Okay, I'm going to close that because the energy is centered. What else? It's like doing soul parties. Somebody approached me, well, how can you do a soul party from far away? You can. Okay, I don't need to muscle test unless there's somebody that can muscle test. But otherwise, it's just like this. You sit me in front of everybody in the group, and I will give you whatever it is that, as long as they feel comfortable with me. Because if they don't feel comfortable with me, I'll give a sample, a demonstration, or talk about me, or talk about energies, talk about things that you never heard before. And then when the time is right, then I can do a private reading with that person in their, wherever it's private reading you set up. So even if I'm not there in person, next best thing. So I think that sounds weird, but it's actually, an option. Yeah, and if you take someone too, yes. So, what kind of questions do you have for spirituality? The main thing that's important, how does one wake up, is that you develop your spiritual development, your self-empowerment, your development on yourself. It's not just learning the tricks of, law of attraction, and it's not any. Yes, learning synchronicity is good. Learning the little things, using stones. I mean, if you understand really how to use them, great. If you understand the chakras, great. But at the same time, if you really want to get to that level to achieve, it is about spiritual awakening and self-improvement, which means you have to use a different mindset to look at your shit. Because when you get to look at your shit, you're going to go, oh, wow. And if you're not ready, or if you've never been exposed to it and you're just waking, you're going to feel like it's a hot seat. You're like, oh my God, these are my flaws. How dare they? Blah, blah, blah. And just feel so crappy. But when you begin to get out of your ego, move yourself aside and move over ego. I got this. And when you hear something, now when you hear it from somebody that's just rude, you have to take it with a grain of salt and ask Spirit to teach you. But if you're getting it from some people that are meant to be teachers like I am, then you'll understand what it is that's happening is because the soul is trying to tell you, hey, can you heal this already? I'm so done. I don't want to see you suffer anymore. Let's do this. So it's important when you begin to look at things. How do we get rid of emotions? We pick up, please. Oh, yes. You said, Brenda, you said the other night that I picked up on one and stored it, which made you feel funny in the stomach. Oh, I'm trying to remember now. I need to know what to do to get rid of these emotions that cause physical symptoms. Okay, there's several different things. If you can do things for yourself, and sometimes they work. Sometimes you have to use different methods over and over so that you can get to them. Because it's not that the technique didn't work; it is you didn't follow the equation. Yeah, after school you use math, but it is a soul equation. This emotion equals this particular age, or if it was a psychic trauma versus a bell. So it's different words, it's different things. So emotions, there's the emotion code, you can just do yourself. And that is, you can, if you know how to use a pendulum or a form of muscle testing, you can find out how to do the emotion code and take care of the ones that get stuck in the body. If it's more elaborate, then it'll be an equation. When it comes to EFT, okay, if you feel, okay, you have no tools except for that one. You're like, oh God, and you can feel it. Now, if you know what the emotion is, or you can feel that they're there, you can just tap. Even though I picked up somebody's energy, even though I can feel their energy in my body, I remove it. I remove, transcend, and let it go. That's interesting because that's not usually what you say for now. So what's happening is they're using me to do a healing right now. I'm just kind of like all of a sudden sending energy. My Reiki's turned on. Everything's flowing through me. Oh, well, all right. Usually when this happens, you get your ego out of the way. So if I'm slowing down and talking, it's because it's because of that. How about that one? Wow. Energy. So like for instance, is yours complicated? Sort of. Yes. The emotion you have lodged is because you believe it to the hilt. You believe that they exert the power. And think about how you believe it. Through your eyes, self-talk, to the feeling, to the stories. And you may have to construct a story in order to feel safe. That pulls and keeps the energy. Sometimes our body wants to hold it and say, oh, no, I'm not giving this up because this has to be my reminder so it can't happen again, which is a lie because it's like you took the poison. On the scale from 0 to 10, please measure things because once you understand how deep that you're holding on to that emotion and how you believe something, because it's a decision, then you'll start noticing how much of your will, your life force, you're holding in place of it to keep it alive. And if that's more tiring than to create something. Sometimes we hold it so we don't feel alone. It's like having the TV set on. They said that there is a reminder that like, oh yeah, okay. So I had this one student that believed that she had to have pain, and the pain meant that she was going to be safe and that better things are coming. And I thought, ooh, okay. But she wanted that. So you have to find out these little things. Other tools besides EFT, pull it out. Pull it out. Put a candle in front of you and just pull it out. Again, you'll be pulling on the belief, the color, and how you know it's there. And when you begin to do this, you're going to listen because all of a sudden you're going to hear, and this is where it's important to write stuff down. Oh my God, I didn't know I was thinking that. because your eyes will drift and tell you a story, or you can deliberately put your eyes in different directions and find out the story even more. How can you move the ego? It's a big thing. Yes, it is. Oh, before I get into that, another thing is learn acupressure, which is tapping certain points, tracing your meridians, using magnets to look at the acupuncture points on the meridian, and moving, going back and forth with a magnet, getting the energy moving. These are all the little things that I do for people, and I teach people how to do them. And your body will then start to say, oh. And then when they're attached to chakras, then you do a chakra healing with it as well. If it's attached to a big memory, sometimes we have to pull in the big guns of smell. Okay? Like sometimes, you smell popcorn? There's little things that spirit will use. All right, how do you get move ego aside? So first of all, you have to become aware of when your ego. Now this is how spirit told me. You are switch. They just moved the cord, if you could see that. The way they taught me, ego stands for an electromagnetic guiding omniapparition. You are an electromagnetic being. You are learning how to go into the quantum field and to take all things possible and turn into a particle and claim it. Okay? What does that mean with ego? It's a lens. You're consciously inside this body, and as you're looking through this lens, you get to see what you just created. You get to see what this aspect of you created. See all the stuff behind me? And what that means is that you don't have to be attached to my stuff. I don't have to be attached to my stuff. But the moment that I'm over attaching with matter, okay, I'm matter. It's a fancy name to give it, even though that this stuff doesn't even exist, which is a whole other story. But because I'm attached to it, I have made a decision, I have a belief, I use emotions and a story, and I use my will. Now I've claimed it. And the more story we have it, the more we will have an emotion to it. And when you're an ego, that means your emotions and your thoughts are owned. To move it aside, you begin to move the emotions. You change the way you believe. You teach in, like you're doing now, you're learning, and you begin to learn different concepts, learn different ways to communicate with the soul, learn different ways like spiritual investigation and soul speak to get to that next level. And when you do, you'll begin to start operating through your heart, your gut intuition, and you can learn how to connect to your higher self. When you do that, you'll be like standing here looking at, you're looking through your spiritual mindset. But then you'll notice that your ego's out here. And your ego basically is looking around, but you don't have to react. You don't have to lose personal power or take it personal. It's the emotional aspects of taking it personal and that causes you to stand in the way. Like this morning, I'm not sure what happened. Picked up my pendulum and I'm using it, and my daughter asked me a question, and all of a sudden it's like, yes, no, more to the story. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm connected. And one of the things I'm going to be teaching people is how to correct when your polarities are going backwards, when the fluids are not balanced properly, and or a meridian or something is stuck. And so then I waited, give it 5 minutes, and things change. And then I heard that I was just being affected. I'm like, I can choose something better. And then I tapped my K27s. I did, all right, it's going to happen. But Wayne Cook, I did a few things. And then all of a sudden I could feel my energies coming back. That knowing of how I know I talk with spirit through my higher self. It was clear. I was like, oh, all right, back online. I can tell when they switch me Okay, just double checking to make sure nobody's paid. And it's all about moving forward and being able to notice the difference, and then you can allow yourself to get a clear reading because your shit's out of the way. Your lower back pain is that your body is a program. Your body is your subconscious mind. Your body is always giving messages. For you that just saw me read instead of said it, she goes, "Hello, Goddess Peace. How can I get rid of lower back pain?" That's the question. First, what's the body telling you? Why is it there? And, like for instance, okay, so the lower back pain. Let me see if there's any other questions real quick. Oh, thank you. Good advice. Oh, I love you. Before I go any further, lower back pain. Somebody's stepping up, so you just have to wait a second. They're telling me to shut up and wait until it's linked, so I'm doing it. Let's see. Move that I, that ego. Remove want, desires. Now how you have is happiness. Yeah, there's a version. When I learned that the soul, it's not the wanting, but understanding the definition of desire. When my soul desired, it was actually the alignment for my higher self versus using desire and want through the ego. And all of a sudden, I just started noticing that self-care, defining who I am. I like chocolate ice cream, but I don't like it with anything else. Now, I like mint chocolate chip, but I don't like it with anything else. Oh, I know what I do. I take candy, but I don't eat it. I put it on the shelf. Drives people wild. How can you do that? Because it's there. But beginning to define and know yourself, and a desire with your soul, all in your higher self and your gut intuition allows you to start getting to your purpose. My desire was, I wanted to know what hands-on healing was. I asked the question, and I was motivated to find it. Even though there was a few years that was dull with nothing, that was me waiting. And then it all of a sudden appeared. So that ego, it's not about killing it because it's a lens, but stop over identifying with matter. That's what's important. Namaste. Some wonderful new names. Demi says, thanks again so much for the reading. You're welcome. Oh, good. She's loving my advice. All right. You see you later. Yes, a soul party. So, yeah. I'm so excited to do the soul party. We have a lot of first time viewers. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that because, please share, because when I see it at the top, I'll give you a card. Hit the love button, I'll give you a card. New people, I usually know when I have new people, I give you a card. What we're going to do is what's called 2 minutes. And it's my way of giving back. Now, if you wanted a paid reading, 11 for 11, that's right at the top. If you wanted free healing tools, the website's there as well. When you go there, you hover over healing, and then you see healing tools, hover over that, and then a drop-down menu. I got to re-update all the videos and stuff like that, but the information's still good. And there's many videos I have not put up because I'm also getting ready to, I'm putting classes together. Now, for the 2 minute read, what I want you to do so that I can make sure I do it correctly is you need to say here, and then the first here, and nobody talk except for I need to be able to see down the road because there's 19. So I need to be able to go look at it. So first person that says it, give you a 2 minute read, and then we'll go down from there. Okay? All right, so Sam, you're the first that I can see. All right, so this is about having a positive environment. And they said that The positive environment, even though it could be nasty on the outside, is that your inner world creates your outer world. Creating that inner positiveness first. The very first thing that you need to make a habit of is when you wake up, create a thing. List 3 things that you're thankful for, which is to begin your day. Thankful for breakfast, thankful for smiling kids, thank you, and then 3 things that you're gratitude. But you can't use the same list every day. Okay? And then you need to sit there and send love intentionally to at least one. You can increase it to people that annoyed the hell out of you that day or you really didn't like. You need to flip the script. So, they annoy me, but you know what? How do I give love to that person? I'm going to be very creative. Like, it's hard to do in the first thing in the morning, but try to get in the habit, and then right before you go to bed. What it does is it switches the heart on. It switches the environment in your body. And when that happens and love starts pumping through you, gratitude starts pumping through you, because your body will make you become the environment that you think and feel. So then your inner world will go out, and then your outer world will start showing. So if you're watching depressive TV, then your body is telling you that you are depressed in some form, and that is your comfort. Change that environment. Spruce it up with color. Make little pops of color that feeds you, and maybe some different kinds like flowers or birds, smells. But change the outer environment to help remind you, or put sticky notes. Okay, I love so-and-so today. Yeah, and then you have to really just allow yourself to get into that next space. Okay? Please don't jump. Oh, here we go. Linda, that big long name I can't say. You're next. Okay, 2 minutes. Oh my God, let things roar. I don't know what that is, but let things roar. Somebody stole your thunder? No. Something makes you mad. And it's like, why don't people stand up for themselves? And you always feel people's invading spaces. Yours? Invading. I mean, literally, they can be over there, but their shit starts to invade you. It's like, God damn, I can smell them. What does she? What? So you do use your nose as a way to connect. Like, people are visual and auditory. Your nose. So if you can't smell, that's probably because you're shutting that down. But your vibration of people and the way that they're not just because they can smell really good, but if their emotions stink, if their attitude stinks, there's something about and there's just a lot of invading. So when you begin to start to notice that difference, that's when you can start having a little bit more control, because you don't have to. The people that really bug you the most are people that are disproving. They have to disprove everything. So you attract a lot of people that are the opposite for you. And it's like, they got nothing good to say. Shut their mouth. But then you learn that you become self-conscious and you're trying to be a better person, so you're being quiet. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, you have to be careful, because when these people annoy you, you have a lot of self-talk, they say, that makes it so that you literally can say, I hate that. Even though you may not be that type of person, just listen, because out of the blue, when you get angry, you're just going to say, I hate that. You understand? Those emotions need to be nipped in the bud, so that your inner world doesn't have to be it, and your body don't have to feel it. Okay? And you don't have to see it out there. Then resolve your issue, and then people will zig while you zag. Brittany Lynch. Hallelujah. What about hallelujah? Hallelujah. That daylight comes and I want to come home. You got a lot of music coming around. A lot of music. I want to go home. Very awkward in situations. You can get lost and you feel safe with music. You can, you swear that you had a theme song that follows you around. If it had you would like, you wish it had background music so you know what events coming up next in your life. The fear of judgment of people really makes you want to wet your pants. Hey, that's what they're saying. Um, Egoic people, it's like they are not connected to spirit and you seem to attract them. Why? Why does she do that? Because you believe you have a weakness. And they say no. At 2 years old, they discouraged you from being very creative. And so you keeping quiet of your creativity. So your energy around your space gets fumbled when they come close. And that can throw, what? Juju beads? What are those? I don't know what those are. What the heck is that? Just gone. Just gone. Okay. Irrelevant. Does she? No, they make her certain. You just tell me that was irrelevant. No, irrelevant things seem to be like a jump rope. You know, trip you up. It's not in. They say you're not very good at jump roping over them because you believe them so real. Because lofty people just they got their shit, and somehow they become very much too lofty. I think it's Gina Jones. Cotton candy, little bears. Did you lose somebody? Um, the vibration, you can feel when people resonate their what? Their what? Their panic and their petrifiedness that they're going to lose someone. I just picture you in a scary movie looking around going, oh, and I, people are standing back going, run to the side, don't run down the middle, get away from there. Does that make sense to you? They said that you were able to develop, so it's called arrested development. Weren't able to develop. What is she not able to develop? The the excited part, the excited. You're not allowed to feel alive. You're supposed to be calm, and you're supposed. It's like someone described you and said that's who she is, and you're like, yes. Even though there's a part of you that knows you're much more than that, and you don't know how to get there. Does she seem to draw this to her? Now, what do you mean by repulse? Certain foods that you eat, you create a repulse in it, which means you can get your tummy upset. You could break out in allergy issues. It says more of an allergy. No, it just has no tolerance for certain things. Bad. Something about not. People say it's gluten, but it's actually the chemicals of how they wash the wheat and stuff like this. There's something. So start paying attention to which foods make you feel like shit. So they said you first have to become really aware of like what the symptoms are. What do you mean frequency? Indecisive. What are you indecisive about? How to stop abusing myself? You use internal dialogue to what? Beat yourself up? No. Your internal dialogue to change the frequency and then to so you have to act a certain way. Like they said, you have to become self-centered. You have to act a certain way, and they said you're going against the grain of who you really are. So you have to convince yourself to be somebody that you don't want to be, from what I can hear. Nikki Lake. Um, what was that? It's like at 3 years old, you got hit in the back of the head with a baseball bat or a hockey stick or something. There's something that, it's like boys playing rough, and but it wasn't meant to hurt you or any of that stuff. Um, so you have to live through others. So they showed me a shy, timid little girl with her blankie. I don't know if you sucked your thumb or not, but there was a blankie, and that you learned that oh, they're showing me that a certain amount of danger was in the space of aggressive energy, of a male energy. Where are you going with this? Stressful people. Sorry, very stressful environment, and you had to toe the line. And so part of you went and learned how to pacify yourself by living through other people. Uh, you would actually see how people, when they're stressed, would actually use shame and guilt and reward and punishment, and that just that's not for me. And so you came in clearly knowing that you had a job to do. I swear you know you're awake, but you can't understand these repetitive patterns that are happening. That's what they just said. Um, what? They know how to get to you. They know how to get me, and then they manipulate you. So we have to learn what that is. Like if they're a narcissist, you learn what that means. You have to know when they do it, and then you have to detach how you could care less. But you put value in them because you get caught up into that story. Dismantle the emotions, break down the chemical peptides of how you know, which let's go from 0 to 10, 10 being, I know this. You heal it down to 0, and then all of a sudden, you won't really respond anymore because you're seeing it and you're just like, okay, and you're just going to say no, or just walk away. You're just going to get stronger. L. Lovell Burns. Shame and Punishment. Sounds like a book title. Are you trying to write a book or something? Write something? Does she have problems writing? Yes. She has problems with what? Constructing her feelings because she needs to remember what? How people exert their power, exert um, their weight, exert their weight around, steal the thunder, and it literally disrupts how you put. So it creates you to become scrambled, and so in order for a thought to come through or to write, you can't because you. And they said that when you were in school learning, um, and we called it English grammar and stuff like this. It creates a disruption. So you have a strategy. I need to learn this or do this, but you can't until you have to have a hiccup and frustration and um, go through a whole. But then all of a sudden you feel the desire and the soul says, "Oh, we need to do this. We need to do something," and you're fine. You start over again, and then all of a sudden that whole strategy happens again. We need to disrupt the pattern, pull that out so you don't have to repeat a particular thing. Yes. Um, the compatibility to bring love in your life is there's a part of you that said, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want that love because bad things are just going to happen anyway. But now that you're an adult, you don't remember saying that, but that decision was made, which created a belief, which you don't, you know, is there and not there because you know the people you attract to manipulate. Shavana, should I? Shavana, yeah, I know everybody's going to laugh because I can't, I have a hard time saying things sometimes. Mirror, mirror on the wall. So you insult yourself when you look in the mirror. And then there's another part of you, all of a sudden you love yourself. So you have a conflict going on inside of you. And it's like you were told that you couldn't be vain, you couldn't admire yourself, you couldn't look at yourself, you couldn't care for yourself, you couldn't have that self. You're not alone. It's a huge error. It's a paradigm that needs to go. It's raining conflict instead of raining men. It's raining conflict. Oh, they said your attitude. Okay, sorry. Um, in order to be like them at work and stuff like that, you have to cop an attitude of nasty weather today, eh? You know, it's like you have to be like one of them. So um, you have to be a boy. No, you have to be one of them. You have to be bitchy and snarky and I think they're trying to say two words there. Um, the energy on the outside draws. What's it draw? Demoralized feelings. Are you even aware of that? On the conscious level. But your inner world is doing what? It has the habit of being deficient, not having enough, being inefficient, deprived. Um, so if you identify with being deprived as a child, then you can have a great abundance and still be deprived greatly. You can change that though. Come on, go, move. Oh, it's not gonna move. Linda, I think I already gave you one. That big long name. You'll have to go back and look. Sandra Lane. Yeah. All I hear is buttercup, buttercup. Or lollipop, lollipop. I can't do that. Lollipop. Commercial? You are my sunshine. So you sang as a little kid? You're attached. She's attached. Attached to what? To the mental process of who you used to be, but not anymore. So she doesn't allow herself to be that anymore. Does she need to be that? When did she decide she wanted not to be? 3 years old. What didn't she want to be? 3 years old, you did not want to be easygoing and happy. That you said, "Oh, I'm not going to be that." I feel like you overheard an insult come out of somebody's mouth towards somebody, and it's like if, let's say, your mother said something about your sister or something, but it was just like because you were shocked that she said that. Now you're not going to allow yourself to be that because then your mom's going to call you that. Next page. World consciousness. So this is so depressing. Yeah, I agree. And it's like, how do you approach people in the world? Because they say that if you approach certain people, they're just going to bite your head off. They're going to attack first. And so it's like you're not really supposed to get to know your neighbors or friends or any of that stuff. And so you become very inadequate of trying to figure out how to make friends, how to be in a space, how to uh, afraid you're going to stick your foot in your mouth because some of the things that you did learn, they're just wrong things to say. And so because it's a new experience, you don't really know, so it's in the arrested development. It's a new development. And inherited, what'd you inherit? The uncertainty of things. So that just vibratingly makes me sick because I just feel like impending doom. Karen. I'm Karen. Oh, I know a Karen McCormick. Okay, Kate. Sorry about that. Kate. Next page. Okay. Does she? Have you ever experienced boredom? And what happens to boredom, and you may watch it with people, is that you're like, you got a billion things to do. What's wrong? Okay, there's an anger face somewhere in there. I don't know if you were told that. Um, but boredom is when all of a sudden your consciousness um, loses a connection to the higher self to some degree. It's just like you feel that separation, oh, and then you're just like drifting boredom. Oh, nothing to do. But you can feel when that occurs. And it's so weird because it's like you can't really get to that next to get out of boredom because it feels like it's drifting. Um, they said that what should you do? Change the energy. Because all of a sudden, they said not only that. Well, okay, which one is causing the disconnect? Her gallbladder. I'm not surprised. The gallbladder meridian, and then it goes makes you indecisiveness. The central meridian becomes very weak, and so the energy needs to be coming up. It gets very weak, and then you become very vulnerable to the people out there. So put your finger on your forehead and your belly button, push in and lift up to start to get the energy going. You can imagine that you're zipping up, coming around, locking it. Strengthen that. Fluff your aura, you know, fluff it. And which do figure eights, it changes the frequency in the aura, which feeds the body. Uh, so as you change that, what do you want her to do next? Uh, Learn about TSING. It's an acupuncture point. It's the fingers, and fingertips, and toes. And when you start tapping, what happens is this really helps. Oops, this really begins to help, and it's right next to the nail bed. Again, look for TSING, acupuncture points. Um, you should be able to have an image, a picture, so you'll know where to go. And this will help get the energy moving in you. Crystal Lee. Nicknames: Sandra D, Brenda Lee. So something people would associate your name with things. Um, Next page. And there's a trapped emotions from that. So how far are you going back? 3 years old. So it's like you got a nickname from your father or something that called you, um, I don't know what, but it didn't make you happy. It did. I don't think you noticed it, but I think in time, so it was more of an insult. My ex would call me Tootie Sue. I thought it was cute, but then his snarky way of saying, "Oh, you fart," you know what I mean? It's you realize it's just an insult, and you're like, really? And in their mind, it's funny as hell, but it's a blatant insult, and you're much aware of that because it would hurt. Going out in the world, so you may not like your name. I don't know if it's your real name or if you don't like your real name, but whatever it is, um, they say inside the prenatalness of the womb. So the prenatal to be is that you picked up deprived. So prenatal deprived again, and all I'm doing here is I'm just saying prenatal deprived. I'm working on your energy field, but you don't have to have it unless you want it. I'm just setting it out there in the bandwidth. You claim it. You can redo this with me. You just say prenatal deprived, prenatal deprived, prenatal deprived. Oh, here we go. Prenatal deprived, prenatal deprived. So I'm moving that out of the governing meridian that governs your body, but it was in there when you were growing. But you can take and clean it out only if you want to claim it. Okay? Um, Susan. Susan Boyles. Ah. Um, you have an animal deer coming through. Um, so we'll have to look up animal spirits. What do you want me to do? 3A and then 5A? 3A and 5A. Discouraged by inferior. You get discouraged and go into being inferior, so your energy drops. because the world feels like a big scary place. Do you have a grandson? Do you have a baby? There's a younger, I feel like you're holding, and they said that you worry, worry too much. You worry too much. What kind of world, psychic what? You picked this up about the child because it's psychic? No, you feel other people think this about the child, and that's contempt for his behavior, their behavior. Yes, and so you feel, it's creating okay, because of that, it's creating toxins within you. Um, and what's the trapped emotion? 2B, failure. So we're just going to remove the trapped emotion 2B, trapped emotion 2B, trapped emotion 2B. I would use my magnet, but my hand worked just fine, just like you. That's why I'm not using one. Ugh. You go through and you just, wow, it's just kind of like wiped my brain. Wow. Um, wow. That just, wow. Okay, I just have to wait for it to reconnect up. Taylor. Taylor. Why do I want to call you that? My brain sees that, that's why. Okay, so, Taylor. Do loud noises disturb you when you're trying to concentrate? Because they said that a trapped emotion, well, tell me what it is, 2B, of hopelessness. You can't get anything done. There's a hopelessness. And that trapped emotion, what age? It's inside the womb. How many months inside the womb? So you're 5 months inside the womb, so it's prenatal. So the prenatal of trapped emotion of hopelessness. Prenatal, so you know, you've been watching. So prenatal hopelessness, prenatal hopelessness, prenatal hopelessness, prenatal hopelessness. And somehow it was affecting the nutrition in the body, and it affected your mood, like to be depressed. 2B, what are we talking about 2B? Because then that was associated with failure. Did we release that? No, she just needs to stop saying, oh, because I didn't wear my lucky underwear, it's failure today. That type of thinking will actually cause you to say, see, I got proof, and you got to stop doing that. Why? 5A. Because there's a part of you that wants to avoid. What do you want to avoid? Feeling lost. You don't want to feel lost because you want to feel connected. You want that camaraderie, reciprocation. Yeah. You want to join in, but you back out. And they said it's not that because you consider yourself an introvert, you consider yourself. Oh no, you do that, but really, what it is, it's a program because you feel like you're going to get lost, and then not sure what to say or do. Shavannah, I did you. Tate Edmoni. Ready? Guilt when lofty people are around. So you may not even be aware of the fact, but if there's a lofty person around, you will automatically start feeling guilt, and you won't know. You won't even be aware of the fact that something's happened, but all of a sudden you start to. It's like when you go into a store and you don't buy something, but you feel guilty, and you're like, you're not sure how to back yourself out of that situation. Lofty, tell me more about it. It's people that have agendas for you. Do my homework. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I feel like this younger part of you, it's like they have an agenda. It's like they, dangle the carrot in front of you, and then you do it, and you're like, oh, I'm giving you that carrot. Does that make sense? I feel like you want a promotion and you can't get it, and they said that there's association because they said an engram. The association is subconscious mind of other people, subconscious mind of other people, and you put the habit and money. So the habit, the subconscious mind of the people, whatever they're thinking, and money. You pick that up of how you look at all those things because it's inherited. And vain. Vain can be that you're too vain, or you don't have enough. You're not proud of your stuff enough. I can't remember. Look up vain. It's just like you're not allowed to really be proud, but they can. Something like that. Sarah. Can't remember if I gave you one or not. Isn't that funny? Doesn't matter. Sarah. Trauma. Active memory. Trapped emotion. You still have numb trapped into your body. 4 years old. They say you don't know how to respond, so you become numb. It's not that you can't believe it, it's just that you can't, again, you can't put two words together. You become numb about some things. Tell me what that is. When you get defensive, when people get defensive around you. Now my right ear, it's like I have an earache. It's like I don't know if it has associated with the way they speak. Oh, wow. It's like they're contagious. They're infected. Really? Other people's thinking. Does that defect? No. It's like you can see the negative thinking and how it connects, and you can see how contagious it is about like spreading a rumor. What's that? Active memory. 4 years old. Is there? It's in the matrix. So it's what you're hooked into and what you believe is real. And they say that numbness. Go to the next page. Is something that you remember through pictures. It's in that affects the large intestine, and it causes great discouragement and low self-esteem. But you can tap that out, you can heal that out, and you can change it. Okay, I'm going to unwind that because I do not want that. And then you're welcome, Sam. So there's a conversation going on there. I did that and that and that and that. Brittany, I got that. Oh, song, good. Okay, so all I'll end up doing is rereading. Oh, is there a? Oh, I'm gonna say it wrong. Hernandez, Zeltsin, um, Zeltsin. I'm going to. Okay, Gina, Brittany. I'll read all that when I get. Yeah, Gina. Okay. Yes. Okay, got it. Okay, Crystal. So I did say you. I thought I. Okay, so before I go any further, you got to remember it has to. There's a delayed reaction. So sometimes they may start reading before. Gosh, I thought I heard somebody come to my door. Let's see. Okay, so no, I'm not doing random. What it is that when it was right in a row, I can't move my screen except for slowly. So whoever said it, it's going to be in a row. Okay, so okay, so and again, there's a great delay between that. Yes, that's why. Right, I'm looking for the word here so I can stay organized. Okay. All right, so I've got you. I've got you. Crystal, yeah, good. I got you. Now, okay, now there's that Zelton again. Okay, so I've got his Hernandez. Okay, so I got that written down, and I got a Marie Faint too. And then it looks like everybody else. Okay, Marie Faint. Okay, I'm still going to do you. He's there. Okay, good. Sarah, I got you. Okay, good. So that's where we're going to start. All right, so I just wanted to make sure now that I caught up on everything. I'll set the timer. At least my ear has stopped hurting. Shoe fly, don't bother me. Shoe fly, don't bother me. I don't know. I know that song for me. People shooed you away. There's a wow. I don't know what's going on in my throat and my sinuses, but there's a frequency issue here. What do you mean frequency issue? Thirst. So you may eat when you're really thirsty, and which throws your chemistry off, I think, from what I can feel. And so instead of taking action to drink, you take action differently. And I feel like, in a way, you have great control, but add more water. Relationships with friends, deficient. You're deficient in that. In maybe the way that you feel. And then, but you seem to attract jealous people. Why? Well, that's because at 3 years old, the energy of the space was what? Fear and shame. So that's kind of like, I guess, what you grew up with, if I understand that right. The reaction. Oh, someone, oh, Beth, whoever it is. So it could be brothers and sisters. It's the dynamics. The dynamics. Where? Fear of being controlled. That's why you have to control certain things, because you don't know what to do. Live through this thing. Have to live through. So somebody has set up a schedule of how this is how you're supposed to live. What was it that came through the other day? It's interesting. Someone said to me, I gotta get the right, indelible. It left a mark. In this case, it wasn't what they done. You have marked yourself that says, I don't want to be no prisoner. I don't want to be no slave. I don't want to be. And so, because you don't want that, there's an energy that you can kind of say, but I can see that, but yet I'm being a slave to myself. I'm causing myself to stay in this position to be that. So you'd lose power. Okay? All right, so is Maria Faint here? Oh, Maria, are you here? Marie, not Maria. Marie Faint. I tried to go in order. That's why I try to say, type here so I can actually look at it. Okay, so we'll find out if that person. So that's the 2-minute reads, and I feel like, let me know. Let me know if that made any sense to you. You can inbox me. Tell me that made sense. Thank you. Whatever. I don't know. with 2-minute reads, it's just that you go quick. I can't really communicate back and forth with you. I do my best to, talk as fast as I can. Ah, Marie's here. Hi, David. David, do you want a 2-minute read? Because that's what I'm offering. So, Marie, so you're, here we go. Memory about what? Memory about a career that you want? Can you remember it? Yes. What about the memory? You don't know if you're compatible anymore. You feel like you're struggling but you just can't get there. Inside, you're inside. Are you aware of your career? Yeah, okay. So this is what's happening inside. Or what are you saying? Uh, Sometimes you have to present yourself a certain way and you don't like it. You feel these invading energies, and so I don't know what you do, but they said that you feel these invading energies, which throws you off track. People feed you things to say. Really? So do you work with spirit? Do you work with um, you're not sure how to handle when people act towards you when you communicate or do say things, because it's like great shame and mortification. Um, do you feel that, so if you're in this, if you do spirituality, then do you afraid that you might be um, called a phony, even though you're not, but there's always that fear. Okay, well, there's always that fear. uh, Deficient, what are you deficient on? Believing in yourself. um, After much time has go on, okay, so they're saying you can use a healing tool, and you have to look at what you think is a weakness. Somebody told you had a weakness, and you just have to. The biggest thing that I would tell you to do is that you have to look at how you vividly recalled, and that is, notice when you look to the upper left, there's a pictures, and you vividly recall not trusting um, yourself and self-loathing. You're talking about particulars? No. Was this yours? No. So you're getting confused between your memory and their memory, but somehow it's all affects how you are as an adult. So just start separating them. Oh well, I can. It doesn't matter, David. I thank you for the support. All right, so you guys are great. Now, did anybody here that's new that wanted a reading that didn't get one? I was doing just a 2-minute read, or if you want to pay for healing, then that you can do also. I'm just going to open this up, double check, make sure. And so we did a little things differently because I'm not able to monitor the board. So picking names, it's hard for me to see this tiny little thing and decide, how to do it. And and I love when people share. It really helps me out, helps get the word out. I'm on YouTube as well, so it's the same that you see here, but without the what do you call this? Active chat. Oh, yes. Okay. Energetically, it looks good, and if you ever want to do soul group readings, but even if you live in a distance, you gather people around, and then you can put me in the space. I can talk to everybody, and then you can move the computer or whatever in another room, and then I can do private readings for them that way. So there's different ways of doing something, um, and I offer a good deal. However we want to do it, it's fun. And what else? I'm beginning to get all the Reiki books together, and I do Reiki 1, 2, and 3, but it has to do with the fire dragon. So the way that you breathe and pass, and the protection of the white light, and the master generator symbols, and so that's all coming. Oh, okay. Marie says, "Thank you. Yes, I do readings and mediumship. Cheers." Ah, awesome. Heal that out so that you don't have to have that niggling fear, because that's not your shit. Um, that way you can become, well, you're already great, but become greater. Okay, so you can get that funny feeling out. You don't need it there. Oh, the other side. Let's see. I don't know what the other side is. Just kidding. Okay, it's getting colder here in Australia, so soon you probably start seeing me with sweaters and hats because we don't have a heater. Yeah, it's so funny coming from Michigan area. You have heaters and air conditioners, and then you're thinking Australia too hot. They probably have air conditioners all the time. Come here, no. Uh, those are options. And because I used to wear layers, and then I come here, oh my god, the house is freezing. You put on you go outside and you're like, oh my god, so you're taking half your clothes off because you're just like, it's colder in the house than it is outside, and you're like, well, that's just weird. And my mind, I couldn't wrap around in my mind, why don't you have heaters? Why don't you have air conditioners? Why are they an option? It's funny. But you learn different cultures and stuff like that. Spirits, yes. I'm not even sure what conversation we're having, David, but we'll have one. All right. Um, if there's, David, if there's anything you want to talk about, ask a question, whatever, anybody here, you know, because otherwise I'm going to say good night. It depends on uh, solar panels. We have some, but they just heat up. It goes back to the grid. Oh. Excuse me. Somebody congested. Yeah, well, we need to have you over here to do that. Because I've mentioned that. Okay. At least my camera's working. Let's just keep praying and keep doing it. All right, I'm double checking, and then spirits are all waving to everybody. I think it's funny when they do that. It's like, everybody's soul registers at some form. How do you? That button? Ah, that's how you do it. You learn something new. You guys are wonderful people. You all, I want you to have good emotional quotient. So increasing your EQ and having great mental health, and that is based on your emotional quotient. So I pray that all for you, and I love to say at all the times, stay blessed.